Hello, gays. Oh, I'm a loud boy. It's me, coming to your ear holes. Soon I'll come to your I was gonna say face holes, but y'all have a lot of those. I forgot a light. Oh god, blown out. Whoa, blown out the mic now too. I'm an absolute mess. How is everyone doing today? This is way too loud in my ears. But I have to make it so you guys can hear it. How's everyone doing? We got Nightbot here, as always. We got Charlie. We got Comical Arts Corner. We got Sammy. We got AZ. We got Orb the Watchman. Hello, hello. Today is the critique stream with, your boy. I got an octopus. Isn't he lovely? He flips inside out. And then he's a trans octopus. I don't know, he's kind of blown out by the light. But I required him. He's pretty amazing. Here to delight in y'all's dread. Yes. Today is the critique stream. Yes, yes. I don't know. Was I talking about that? Frick, what was I even talking about? So today is the critique stream. If you're a patron, at the $8 tier, twice a month, there are critique streams. And this is the first one. And the next one will be on Saturday. And in the first one, we do the long form critiques. Wow, Charles. Charles is amazing. Frickety hickety dickety do. So I have 3 things to look at, and then Ursula has 2 things to look at. So, is everyone here? Because there's AZ, V, and Farwin. And I've seen Farwin and I've seen AZ. I just don't know if V is here. Because otherwise it doesn't really matter what order things are done in. I'm just vibing, honestly. I almost forgot to read everything, which is very classic of me. I had a very powerful day. Yeah, I'm good whenever. Yeah, I don't know if V's here. Well, I'll do... Okay. Because I want to do Farwin last, because we have to tag out at Farwin. So, I guess I'll do AZ, V, and then Farwin. Farwin, you're the only person whose name isn't letter or letters. Right. So I read AZ's chapter 18. What were my opinions on it? Was this all a flashback, or am I misremembering, like, the lead into this? Or if it's current or not? This is like a me problem, not remembering every detail all that well. I need to... I opened it too big. I don't know how to stream. Help. I'm trying to find chat. Oh, there we go. I found it. Yeah, it's a flashback. Okay, I thought so. I just get confused with names sometimes. I just threw your frickin' book aside. Okay, I'm all together now. It's a flashback, but I'm gonna spread it out. I'm just writing the whole thing at once. Okay, that's kind of like what I assumed, because otherwise, yeah, that'd be like my first critique, was that it was very much a lot of back-to-back stuff. And I found that a lot of it was very like what are they called? It was a lot of like active scenes where things and information is revealed and there's like tension to it. So I'd assume when you lace it throughout the story later, you'll want to find ways to add that more reflective kind of scene, which is kind of interesting to do if you do said reflective scenes into future scenes. It's hard to do, but it's like matching up tone and memory and all that. I think like I liked all of the scenes, like because I like your writing, and I thought it was very cool to get it to get into Dez's head more, and I thought it was very well done in the way that the inner monologue works. I'd be interested in how you'd want to portray that in the visuals, but like, um, you really got a sense for his character, um, and there's a lot of uh, building kind of tension um, with him and the uh, family member. Um, and I liked exploring more of like the uh, gender non-conformity as well. Um, and there was a lot of like, wasn't that's like a classic kind of scene where like they're holding up the dress to themselves, like it's just like a very classic scene, and it's always like a visual I like. I don't know why. It's such a good like thing to show thinking. I don't know why that is the case. Um, what else? What other was me? Um, hmm. I guess. Yeah, like I guess if anything, um, the interaction with Des and um oh my god, why don't I remember? Like, is it Sarah? I feel like that's who it is. Like the interaction between those two when they're talking about the dress. I guess I did find it like um there was some parts of it that felt like kind of rushed in like I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just because like the first time we're kind of noticing this. But it might be the case if like I'm going back and reading and it's woven, um it would be fine, but it did feel like this is like the first time you bring up in the section that like we're reading of kind of like all the backstory, like the very first time that the like cross-dressing element comes in, it's very immediately like the first time it comes out is with someone who's very like accepting of it, um which I understand, like it like obviously like it's not gonna come to like full fruition like outside of that. But I think it was just maybe it was just because it was like a very quick acceptance of it that maybe like yeah, yeah, planning how to work on that earlier. Yeah, like I think that was like the main thing that kind of felt a little fast, and it just feels like a little like what is that? Where it's not serendipity, and it's not. Is that feeling where it's like, oh, of course. I don't know. It just feels like. Do you know what that word is? I don't know if it's contrived because I can believe that like someone exists that is like okay with like people that cross dress, but it just feels like, oh, of course, like I don't know what it is. It just feels like a little out of place. But yeah, if it comes up earlier and there's more tension with it, like it'd be fine by me, I think. Um and I don't really need like tension, but I can tell that it's like a very big point of tension. So like it just needs some space to be tense and difficult so that when someone is accepting, it's nice and relieving, but then tense again as we worry about like how people are going to react to that. Yeah, you're planning on fleshing out more and adding more tension. Yeah. Yeah, like I think all of them are very strong scenes. Um I think the only difficulty that I am having is just because of like um because of it just being like a bunch of stuff that'll be woven in later, cuz like I'm mostly just interested in like where things are going, and I guess the pace is just weird right now because of the way that it's just being presented. But they're really strong scenes, and I very much enjoy like getting more of Desmond's characterization, because I definitely feel I've been feeling like more in his head in like recent chapters, and it's nice. And I get his struggles a lot more. And I think if this is woven in the same way that you do, oh my god, I'm so bad at names. The other guy, the other main character guy, um, then I think it's gonna turn out very strong and good. Um, yeah. How dare you make it difficult for me to come up with things to say? You gotta write worse, okay? So that I can I can have things to say. That's my biggest critique. Provide more context and hindsight. Yeah, no, it definitely fits it all together a lot more. Yeah, be rubbish. I will write worse from now on. Thank you. I know, like, there'll probably be, like, tons of, like, issues that you'll come into contact with as you're, like, trying to get the pace right. Yeah, but as scenes, they're very strong. And there's lots of strong writing. Again, how dare. Do you have any like specific questions, or is that all that you needed? It's just my impressions. Hope I'm a helpful little sir. All right. I'll go to V's next, and then I'll go to Farwin's. It's gonna be hard to like talk to V because I have a lot of questions. I don't know if this is long form or not. Well, I only do things on, forget. I'm sorry, V. So V sent in. I feel like we're all talking about V behind their back now. So V sent in a pitch package to be looked at, to be submitted to a publisher, and that stuff is really hard. Yeah, I don't know. V's not here, but I'm moving. I'm leaving. So if they show up and have questions, like they can ask. Okay, if you have questions, V, you come, you ask. It'll all be good. Because I'm gonna go with V, and then I'll do Farwinds because I have to like tab out with you because you have art as well. So it'll be a nice, smooth transition. I looked at Gary. She's V is good at writing. Don't tell them. Yeah, exactly. It'll go to their heads. Anyways, so they sent in a pitch package, and so there's an initial little what do you call it? Bio for them. Then there is a little paragraph on the themes of what they will be doing, because that's what the publisher is asking for. And finally, there is a summarization of the story. So stuff's so hard. Like, it's so hard to be good at both like copy type writing and um comic writing. They're very different skills. I don't think you do a bad job. I'll just say, like, I think that you did a really good job with the summarization of your story. I found it pretty engaging for something that's just a page long. Um, I think you hit on like the main story of your story. Um, I would say my only kind of critique, or like my main critique, is that um the ending of their story, like, okay, maybe I don't, I'm not sure, but it sounds like you the ending of the story sounds like it's leading on to something else afterwards rather than feeling like a conclusion. Um like it feels like a conclusion, um but it also feels like the way that it's written seems like, and then he goes to tag along on his travels, which sounds like it will lead on to the next thing. And your synopsis like needs to have a very like defined beginning and middle and end. Um I like the part about um when they're going through the fungus and stuff. It was very nice description. Like you used good use of like big words that have very specific meanings, and there's like you can feel a lot of this description, which is really good. So I think you did really good on the synopsis, because that's kind of like one of the like hardest parts about these whole pitch things, because synopses are like boring. Okay, like it's really hard to do a good synopsis. Everyone sucks at them. Um, and they're kind of just there to literally tell the main story so that the publisher knows. Um, yeah, I think you did well for writing out your theme as well. Like, I never know how to write themes either. Um, but I think you outlined it well. Um, for your biography, is what you're writing a romance? Because if not, I might not talk about romance in your biography and how much you like to write it. Um, because you're it doesn't quite fit with the project you're pitching. I think it's good to mention that you're working on a web comic. The way that the pitch package was presented to me, at least, and I'm gonna assume you'll like clean this all up and make it like somewhat pretty, was it's at first like the way that this was presented, it felt like you were pitching Dance Your Heart Out. So I'd make sure to like have some sort of statement on the book that you are submitting. Um, I don't know if you need to do a query. Like, I'd need to know, like, I'd need to see, like, what the publisher is looking for, and I could probably help more in that case. But it sounds good, and I think you did a good job, and I'm proud of you for going after your dreams. Because it's scary submitting to publishers, and I wish you all of the luck in the world. And then I moved to Farwin. Okay, that's all I have to say. You guys talking about mozzarella? shredded mozzarella, Gouda, cheese sticks. I like feta. I like crumbly feta. Oh my god, I kick this thing too much. And it shakes. The whole world shakes. Are you ready, Farwin, or are we gonna just talk about cheese here? Are you emotionally prepared for what I'm going to tell you? Okay, you ready? Okay. So your questions were about character introductions. It definitely felt that there was a lot of character introductions that happened, which is exciting. Um, I was very happy to like continue into the story and start to learn things more. Um, I'm excited. I was excited to see the interaction between Sky and um Ariana. Like I thought that was a very good scene. Um I was very interested in like the overarching plot about the magical tomes or whatever. Oh, you're not ready? I'm sorry. Well, too late. Oh wait, are you? Wait, I don't get the joke. I'm sorry. I just want to chocolate cheese. Yeah, I thought that was very strong. I thought a lot of your scenes were strong. I didn't find I didn't find as many cases where I was overwhelmed by the knowledge you were telling me about your world. Um, I think there could be like a little explanation for the the descent, not descent. What is it? I wish I was good at words. That would help this thing so much, guys. Mel. Oh, to because you in in your dialogue descriptions, like you talk about what he is, but like without that, we don't really know what that is or what it means. Um, obviously, like it might be expanded on, um, but um, it, it if it is important, just make sure to make it a little clearer. Um, that said, I did like the casual kind of world building as we were looking at the um the different uh like all the people at the auction. It was interesting, and I do feel like I learned more about your world, which is always very cool because you have a very cool world. And when I understand what's going on, it's really fun. And when I don't fully understand, it's also pretty fun too. So yeah, um, I liked a lot of the interaction. I liked how like casual Ariana was all about these things, and I liked Raymond and his reactions because they have very strong characters, and it kind of came out in how they interacted with the entire situation. I'm really interested like with what's going on with Ash, and I was really vibing um, with all the stuff about the god dude that has a name. Um, oh my god, I'm really bad at names today, like even worse than usual. Oh, what is it? The keeper, whatever, hit something keeper. Like, I was really interested in all of like the priestesses thing and like the, the mark of it, and yeah, I'm very interested, and it was interesting to learn about it. Now I'll be negative. Um, as far as writing a slave auction goes, I'm gonna say that I don't really know the the right way to go about doing that. Um, and I would probably look into like some kind of sensitivity reader because I don't know, like, cause there's probably a bunch of real world implications that I don't really know personally, um, and how you can navigate that kind of thing. Um, yeah, yeah, I definitely like. I don't know like specifically. It was actually I actually thought about that because I was watching a video about survivors of like human trafficking recently. So, you know, like that stuff exists and it also like exists in the past. So like yeah, it's definitely something to like figure out and find someone who understands how to like navigate that stuff better. Because I know it can get yikesy in fantasy, and yeah, I tried to look into some ancient Roman Greek stuff, and it seems pretty straightforward for the auctions themselves. But I don't know how people treat it afterwards in some cultures. Um, yeah. Um, I think it's like, what is it? Cause like I know there's like slavery throughout um throughout like all sorts of like ancient civilizations, but because we're like writing as people in the present day, like we also have to be mindful of like, you know what I mean? Do you vibe with me, Ursula? With what I'm saying, or are you not paying attention? Yeah, I don't know. Anything really? Yeah. I don't know. I guess it would be like also like descendants of slaves too. Like either way, I don't fall into any of these categories, so I don't really know how to do it. And it did come across very um like quirky and fun. And like I understand that kind of from Ariana's perspective because she's kind of not a great person. Um Maybe it was something in the way like maybe it was just like reading the script um um maybe it was just reading the script, but it maybe felt a little too much condoning of Ariana. Like I feel like maybe it's because they're like the main character. Yeah, and she sounds ignorant, but like I think maybe that's the vibe that like I was getting that might be kind of problematic is that she was giving off that that ignorant um royal vibe, which is kind of like a more sympathetic archetype usually, and it's hard to put kind of like a sympathetic typical kind of archetype interactions of teehee, I don't know how the world works. Um I'm mm, I'm upper class, whatever, and like slavery, which is really messed up. And empathizing is hard. I did like the characters. Um and and I don't think it was like all badly done. Like um it also came really quick too. I think that might be part of it. The scene moved very quickly where they were at the auction, which gives it which doesn't really give you a lot of time as the camera person to to like because the story also is told by like you and what you choose to focus on, right? So like if there was a little more time to look at things, I think you could get across the atrocity a bit more rather than focusing on just the fun of it that like this jerk is having. Jerk being like an understatement for Ariana, but we all know. Like they're supposed to they are not great people, which I understand. I think part of it, a good place where you could expand on that is when she first arrives, she immediately goes to interact. A lot of characters are intentionally POS. Yeah, like I think when she first interacts um at the auction, like maybe don't have her like it's part of the problem is she kind of like immediately um like buys like every single person she meets. So there it happens very quick and we don't have a lot of time to like um humanize the people because like we're gonna have time like later on, I'm gonna assume, like as these characters like continue to exist within the story because they do feel important. um yeah, it's I think it needs to be a little less fun at the auction. um and maybe give some humanity to background characters who might who don't continue to exist in the story, just to like flesh out the situation a bit more. um I want to push through some of that, yeah. But I think by like moving so quickly through it, like at another page of two or interacting with the lineup, yeah, um yeah, I guess like that would be helpful. I'm again, like I definitely look into like someone else's opinions on this. Um and I would tread careful. But yeah, I think just giving some more time and a little more condemnation uh from the way that you like portray things. Maybe Ursula can help you on that because she's gonna talk about the art and visuals of it all. Um, because yeah, that's my main thing. I'd be really careful about it. Um, and uh, yeah, having jerk characters like literal evil, awful people as main characters is really hard. Um, and like I understand because you'll be writing some, you'll write a villain type, and then people are like, you as the author agree with everything, but you don't. Like I know it's hard. You just gotta kind of let the the author's kind of camera angle and stuff kind of also tell the story more. But yeah, I liked reading more, and I'm excited to read more. Not having cited be an option. Um, yeah, I don't know. Like, it's definitely because part of the problem is you're in the scene, you're only dealing with people who think this is okay, and you need to find a way to be like, as the author, to put in, just so you know, this is bad, and because otherwise it does come across as like um a little more. It's frowned upon in most places, which is why. Okay, black market is in another country. Okay, yeah, yeah. Adding a little more of that information into like, I guess why she's so excited to be doing. She's like, wow, I get, because I do remember that kind of like her being, them being excited to do black market shenanigans. Shenanigans. That's horrible. Yeah, just don't make it be shenanigans. From their POV, it's shenanigans. From us, we should be staring in absolute horror. Make sure me personally don't agree with the things that they're doing. Yeah, make it very clear that this is bad. This is bad, and we shouldn't be doing this. And maybe part of the problem is also like your enslaved characters seem like really chill with it too. might might be part of the issue too. They're handling it like, yeah. Reminds me of the 9.0. Listen, we don't talk about the 9.0. All right. Okay. Ursula, I'm tagging out. That's all I gotta say. I love you. I love all your ratings. Uh, yeah. Talk to you later. No, it's come on. It's scary. Hello. Yeah. I had to occupy myself. Okay. Hello. Hi. Oh, thanks. Okay. You. Hello. Short, short husband. My goodness. Let's turn down some of that background noise. Okay. So, let's see. Let me get your thumbnails open, Farwin. So, when I was looking through your stuff, I was like, lamenting to Bones. I was like, I don't know what to say. I don't have any issues. So I feel like anything I say is gonna be very nitpicky. I think you did a really good job, with, uh, your thumbnails. I think there's just like one or two spots where I was like, this could be shifted around a little bit. Um, let me see. Let me. Never Bone sets this up. I don't know what's going on. Let's be real, guys. I never know what's going on. Are you taller than Bones? I don't think I'm taller than him. I think we're around the same height. Well, I know we're around the same height, but like, he slouches in his chair a lot, and I sit up very tall. What am I looking for? It's okay to say you're tall. I'm taller. Is this it? That's it. Nice. Okay. So there was like, I had some little nitpicks where um oh shoot.
I forgot about marinas. Oh my god, I'm a bad person. Okay. So, yeah. So for the most part, I found your thumbnails were good. I noticed you were framing things a lot. You were giving a lot more breathing room to your subjects and stuff, which is really good. I know that was feedback that I had for you last time, so it's really great that you implemented it, and it's looking good. Uh, you've got lots of different like angles you're using. Um, you switch between showing like expression versus like full body stuff, showing backgrounds. I think you've been doing a really good job with balancing all that out. There's like small little things that I noticed, like this page that I'm looking at here, the way the panels are stacked, like you have the same character um in very similar poses, just one's like a close up and one's farther apart. Um and and they're just stacked on top of each other. It just makes a weird kind of repetition. I'd recommend either like changing the angle around or rejigging like how much space each panel gets to kind of differentiate them a little bit. But right now, it feels like you should be reading like this column up and down and then this column up and down. It's just something about the sizing and the way it's stacked. Um, and I think there were a couple other pages where like it was a similar thing. So just keep it like a really close eye on your flow and make sure that people are looking towards the panel that you want them to look at, if that makes sense. Like it's very minor. I feel like I'd have to go in page by page to really pick it out. Um, but yeah, just be careful about the way information is reading. Um, hmm. Um, but yeah, there were some great pieces of framing. Like I really like this panel here where this character's kneeling and this character's like above them. You've done some really cool stuff with like perspective and posing and framing. It's good stuff. Um, maybe flip that into the page. Possibly. Um, yeah. Was there anything you had questions about in particular? I also liked your use of boxes here. 10 out of 10. Everything is boxes, guys. Um, yeah. Let me know if you have any questions and I'm happy to answer them. I feel bad that I don't have a whole lot to say. I always feel like my fights aren't dynamic enough with my panels. I feel like you do good dynamic paneling um for action. You use a lot of like diagonal and like um you do lots of like opposing diagonals, which creates a lot of like dynamicness to compositions. Um, you also use momentum like to work with flow, like hands reaching, characters like falling, stuff like that. I don't think you have a problem with things not being dynamic. I think there's places maybe you could push it more, like this top panel here where they're doing like a magic whoosh at them. Um, over here it feels a little bit flat angle wise. It might help you to put the character on the ground, like position them in front a little so there's a little overlap and they're fooshing into the distance, if that makes sense, instead of having like they're on the left and they're fooshing magic towards the right, or they're fooshing magic towards the back. um yeah, just to create kind of more depth and overlap. That could probably help you. Yeah, so hopefully that makes sense. um, but yeah, that's generally like a good. It's a good way to fit a lot of information into panels is to do things like that, like kind of put things into the foreground and the background instead of having everything kind of like flat left to right or right to left or whatever. Yeah, just adds more depth. You can use leading lines and stuff to add to make things feel energetic and dynamic. Um, yeah, I hope that makes sense. As I keep saying. um, um, just want to make sure things still visually read. Um, I'm not sure what you mean by visually read. But yes, I think you do a good job with your paneling and stuff. And yeah, I think action scenes are actually one of your strong suits, so I wouldn't worry about that too much. Um, okay, so um, I appreciate when you notice small things so I don't catch them. Yeah, I have the same problem. It's hard when you're staring at your work for so long that you're like, you don't see the you don't see the little details that are staring you in the face because you've been staring at it for eons. And it all kind of becomes noise to you. Yeah. So, I think we can move on. So the next person up, I think, is Battlebox because I think Marina said they'd be on later. Oh, no problem. Um. Okay. Be a good cat, please. What am I looking for? I'm looking for the other dang comic. That's what I'm looking for. I'm so scattered today, guys. I don't know. Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness gosh. There we go. Okay. All right. Battlebox Cat, my friend. Um, so when I was reading through this, um, I think first off, I want to say I really like the work you did with um, line art and cross hatching. I especially noticed it in these like flashback scenes. You do a really good job with like creating shadow, and I like how like deep and dark the shadow gets and then it fades out to like more kind of like cross hatching. I like the texture of the pencil, like pen pencil thing you're working with. um uh Hello. But yeah, really good work with cross hatching and shadow, um and character expression. They're all very expressive. Um yeah, so I think you do a good job in all those places. Um I also noticed like the hands you were drawing are like very nice. You've got a very nice detailed way of drawing hands. Um as well, I would say. um, so I think oh right, and I think the comic overall is like a nice little self-contained story. I know you said it's like a character's like backstory, kind of one-off thing you're making. It's not part of like a big series you're putting together. Guys, they're yelling because the cat walked by. They're rude, rude dogs. Okay. So, anyways, nice self-contained story. I think the pacing was good. Um, there's some little things that were like threw me off. Um, this first panel here, where she's eaten the meat stick, I was like, I saw that panel. I was like, okay, this is gonna be like a thirsty story. Like I read it before, before reading your description of the comic to get kind of first impressions, and I was like, okay, this is gonna be like a very like thirsty romance story, and then it's not. So I found this first panel really sets a very different tone than the rest of the comic has, considering it goes to like this very tragic backstory horror place. If you wanted to start off with like her like eating meat, you could make it look more grotesque. For example, um, or show her looking more melancholy. I don't know. Just it reads very different going in. It sets a very different vibe. Um, the other thing I would say is that um I wanted to see more kind of backgrounds going on, more kind of set piece stuff going on. Like you have yeah, she loves that piece of mutton. I don't know what meat is called. That turkey leg. She just loves it. Um anyways, but you draw like little sets, like you'll have like the little cake scene and like the front door, uh and you know their campsite in the beginning of the scene. But I just wanted like more kind of atmosphere stuff. Like I'd love to see more of their home and how their home changed like as she grew up, for example. um and I also wanted to see more kind of sci-fi elements, because when I was reading it, until it gets to the very end and they mention like um oh, I guess it's not the very end, but until they got to like started talking about how like the earth was ruined and there was a lottery to the um to go in the spaceship and stuff, where I was like, this is a sci-fi. I plan to add them, but yeah, but just when you're adding it, like uh you could add sci-fi elements into their clothes or into the backgrounds. um One example that threw me off was like when he's reading the letter, it's on paper, and I was like, would it really be on paper, or would they be using maybe like um if this is 50 years in the future, like maybe they'd be using electronic communications instead, like an email or a message on a screen or something like that. um it just feels like there could be little things to make it feel more future. um Another very minor nitpick, uh yeah, space iPad, exactly. This is a very minor nitpick. I didn't feel like the parents aged as things went on either. They both look very young. Um for someone having like either a teenager or an adult daughter. They look the same age as their daughter. And they also don't change very much from the initial pictures of them with little baby, and then they're the exact same when their child is like um a teenager or an adult. Um I also I found this panel in particular a little confusing. Um, it looks like a comedy expression, and I think you're really good with comedy expressions. Like I really like the end where they're reacting to like this horrible story she's just told them, and they're like, "Oh my god." Like I like that's funny, and I think you're really good at doing that. Just here, this expression feels a little too light considering what she's looking at. um so yeah, minor nitpick there. I think you did a good reveal with like what happens with the mom and the dad. Um I liked the paneling you did kind of when she's having like the struggle with him and shoots him. I think you did a very good job at like making it dynamic. Um uh and you know, it was rougher than this because it was more kind of sketch thumbnail stage. So yeah, same things apply with like backgrounds and stuff, but you know, that'll come later when you're sketching things out more. Um but yeah, I think that would be the main thing, is just making sure planning things out tonally will really help you, I think. Like setting up that this is going to be um like a violent story, or setting up that this is like a sci-fi story, and just planning that stuff in a little bit more at the very beginning, instead of adding it in later. I don't know. I guess I shouldn't tell you how to do your process, but but I find it's very helpful to plan in backgrounds and set pieces from the very beginning. Just because your setting is just as important as your characters. So, um, add it in more, you comic artists, you. um, but yeah, otherwise very good. Nice contained story. Like I said, I really like the pacing of it. And your art is always lovely. So yeah, do you have any questions about that? When I'm working on it, this was originally intended for my friends, so I didn't think about the scientific stuff. Oh yeah, yeah. Yep. Just something to think about for future projects. But yeah, if you don't have anything else that you would like to ask, or if you wanted me to cover anything else, let me know. Otherwise, I'm gonna move on to Marina. Um, so I don't think I can get your thingy up. Your comic pages. I'll just show my lovely face. That's all? Okay, awesome. Thank you for submitting. Okay, Marina. So with your latest chapter that you sent me, so I think I really like how you started adding in some more background information into your comic. Um, like I like from the very beginning, you show like where the characters are, like you know, sitting in a chair, sitting on a bed, stuff like that. And I like how you have some panels that are like, you know, a close up on a face where you don't need all this much background information. Um, you know, you just leave it blank, and that's great. It works, but I like how you still have panels where you're showing little details like the desk and the bed frame, the fountain later when they're fighting. I like how you're putting that stuff in, just to give it, just to help us understand like where the characters are, where they are in position to each other. I like how you've got a mix of like showing all of the characters in the scene and then doing close-ups on characters. I think that again establishes the scenes really well. I really like how you have the little text message thing in your comic. I think that's cute. It's a nice little touch. I might add. No, I don't know. I was gonna say like maybe add some more spacing between the message and the panels, but I don't actually know if that's necessary. I think the only big piece I would tell you, because I think you do a good job with like when they start fighting, you do some nice dynamic shots. And I like again how even during the fight scene you have like you show the people in the background, like the crowd cheering. You show the different characters reacting and watching. And it feels really integrated and really nice. I think you did a really good job with framing all that. I think, however, in the dialogue leading up to it, when it's the two characters talking right before the fight, it feels very talking head scene. So a talking head scene is when you have characters aren't doing anything, they're just talking. And I find it can be very easy to just do the same panel over and over again where it's like character says something, character replies, character says something, character replies. And it gets it's easy as an artist, but it gets boring as a reader. So I'd recommend giving your characters something to do while they talk, whether that's like one of them's, I don't know, polishing their weapon, and the other one's maybe stretching, or I don't know, there's lots of stuff you can do. It helps to also just like change the angle around when maybe they're being more adversarial. You can do show them in profile, kind of like speaking to each other. That creates like a very aggressive kind of uh, adversarial, yeah, kind of vibe to it. That's like a thing from stage, where if you have characters like facing each other, it uh, implies conflict more than characters facing the audience, I guess. Um, Um, but yeah, just mix up camera angles, mix up what your characters are doing while they talk. There's definitely panels where you can squish them into one panel, so you can have a character saying something and a character reacting and replying within the same panel. You don't necessarily need to break it up into multiple panels. I didn't mind the multiple panels for the characters talking. I think it did kind of add that kind of adversarial idea to it. Um, but you'll I think it definitely helps to kind of switch up the angles and just give your character something to do. Like I said, just creates a lot more interest. And you know, you can add some fun little like character building, personality showing stuff into it when your characters are just doing something. I've even had it while we're in scenes, I'll have a character like, I don't know, stretching or writing in the background. I don't know. There's lots of stuff you can do. Just switch up poses and camera angles and all that good stuff. Um, let me see. Yeah, again, I think you did a really good job with the action scenes. They're very I like how you have the lady, I can't remember her name. I'm sorry. I like how you have the panel where she like winds up with the magic punch and then goes. I think it creates like a lot of impact, and then you show like um the guy blocking. Um but yeah, I think yeah, that's a really great technique to do when drawing fight scenes is the build up, the I guess the throwing of the punch and then the impact. And I know it works in film. I don't actually. I should pay attention more in comics, but I know showing the impact multiple times can make it seem like the hit is harder. So there you go. Hot tip. um, but yeah, I think you're getting better and better with your comic stuff. Um, yeah. I feel bad that this was so quick, but please let me know if you have any questions or if there was something I didn't cover. Um, I also, you mentioned you said that there was a big time jump between when you worked on different pages. I didn't really notice it. I think that's a nice thing about comics is like, um, especially with web comics, is like you're gonna become a better artist the further you go into a story. Um, so yeah, it's just gonna get better and better as you go, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think you have to worry about like quality changing because like it's good that the quality is changing and getting better as you go. So yeah, don't worry too much. I think everything you make will have your personal like artistic flair to it. People will generally be able to say like, "Ah, yes, they did this. This is patent them." um um yeah, so don't worry too much about style changing or quality changing. I don't think it's a strike against you. Um so yeah, that's everything. This was a short stream. That's weird. But Marina, please let me know if you have any questions or if I didn't cover anything. I'm happy to answer. Um, yeah, and then I guess we'll do the short form submissions on Saturday. Dang. Okay. Well, um, thanks everyone. Thanks to everyone who submitted. I know it can be pretty nerve-wracking to get your stuff critiqued on stream. I came when it was ending. I'm sorry, Via. We're going a little quick today. I don't know what that is. Just we didn't get a lot of submissions this time, but you know what? Some months we get so many, and some months we don't get so many, and that's fine. I think. um. Anyways, yeah. Thank you all so much for submitting. Thanks all for watching. If you would like to have your comics critiqued, whether it's the visuals, whether it's the writing, an outline, thumbnails, pencils, inks, colors, stuff, your illustrations, your character designs, any of that, um, um, you can sign up for our Patreon, and next month we will review your stuff. Heck yeah. Oh, thanks, Twirl. Oh. Um, yeah, and make sure to subscribe to the channel because we're gonna be back on Saturday looking at more critiques of more kind of illustration stuff. Um, so hit the bell so you don't miss it like a fool. Okay. Goodbye everybody. Once again, thanks for coming. Mwah!